So for today, Tuesday, we have another spreadsheet here. We're going to reinforce some skills we learned already and give you a new item, which is called a conditional formatted if-then statement, um, a condition test, however you want to kind of look at it. But we do have some reviewing to kind of reinforce what we've learned already. We're going to merge and center. Now on Google, you might have to click on center when you merge it. Merge and center across the rows that you used. They're going to ask you to color some things, and they're going to ask you to use the fill series. What do they want? Pick a thick purple line under row 4. Okay. So a thick purple line is the borders function, and go down to more borders, or if you can just hit the color. Often we go to more borders, change the color to purple, make it thick, and when it goes in there, then you have it show up. The fill series that wants every week ending. So if the first week ended in 12/3, the next week would end 12/7. And then you can highlight these two, and with your cursor, because this is 7 days, right? That's every week, 12/3, 12/7. And you go down, and now you have it perfectly to the end of the year. And just by doing that, doing these two, again, highlight them, and then you can let go, whatever, and then put your cursor to gets to that bottom right corner and changes that plus sign, black cross sign, just go down. That's what they mean by this direction. Again, they're going to ask you to delete a few things. Now you can click, it'd be like a right click, but hold down the control key to delete, or you can click up here like we did last time and delete. Either way, we're deleting those 2 blank rows. Now you saw beforehand the directions said delete row 11 and 15, the 2 that are sitting there. Once you delete row 11, 15 becomes 14. Oops. Then, and again, you can use the right click. You can also highlight both of them together. Click on it, hold the command key, and click so that both rows are highlighted at once. And they do it all at once too. Just kind of depends how you want to do it. But those are good things. We use delete, multiple rows, multiple things, formatting multiple things at once. Use that a lot. Now we're not going to auto sum and show you all this again. I guess we can, but this is the max formula. Remember, the highest number in the range equals the max. Okay. Ending parentheses, so equals tells the formula, Excel it's a formula, max is the highest, and you have the range. Again, not including the totals, so B6 through F6. And then you have min, or the lowest number. And you can type this in. You don't have to point click. I just get used to using the max min when they pop up. And then you can obviously auto sum those down. We're not going to do all these for these. You obviously know how to do that. You just want to make sure you're formatting it so it looks nice with comma and 2 decimal places. It says double underline rows with the totals. So double underlining these rows is just kind of going up here, trying to offshoot them a little bit. I guess I have to do it each individually, sorry. But just offset them a little bit. They'll put dollar signs on some of these, so we can put a dollar sign real easily. And I guess if you have the totals here, then you can do the one on row 6 and 12. Well, we deleted that number, so that we'll have to do the totals, so we'll have to rework that wording. But that's what they want: first row, last row. Bonus is something that is going to be a formula that's going to be an if-then statement. How do we tell Excel it's going to be a formulas by doing equals. And then we have this if. And the if, some people called it a logic test, conditional test, if-then statement. If something happens, then we would separate it with a comma. If this, whatever we type out, happens to be true, the test, whatever, would be a comma. If it's true is listed next, separated by a comma. And then if it's false, this is all in parentheses. And inside it, you can have multiple parentheses. Again, you'll do that kind of thing in some science and math and business classes. But for our purposes, we're going to keep this really simple and try to show that these salespeople, if they made a certain amount, they get a 3% bonus. If not, they get a 1. So what you need to be able to do, and it's kind of makes you think, but we're going to show you today, is understand what the test is first, put a comma, put what happens if the test is true, place a comma, and what happens if it's false. So by reading this statement, if the salesman made a total of $9,000 or more, the salesperson earns 3% of their totals. If not, they make or made 1% of their totals. So their total number is here. So the test is if the salesperson's totals are greater than or equal to 9,000. That is the test. Now you can't put a comma after the 9 because then Excel's formula will read if this total is greater than or equal to 9, because the comma separates the test from the true. So we don't put any commas like you do up in these. We don't do that in the if-then statement here. So if the total for that salesperson is greater than or equal to, because it says 9,000 or more, we always put the inequality first, then the equal sign. So you have if the total is greater than or equal to 9,000, what happens if it's true? The salesperson earns 3% of their total. So their total's there. We multiply with an asterisk, shift 8, or if you have your number pad, and 3% is 0.03. So if the salesperson's total is true, they get 3% of their total number. If it's false, what happens? If not, they get 1% of their total sales. So their total times 0.01 for 1%. Now we're not done yet because we had a parenthesis here, and sometimes you'll have multiple parentheses inside and you just got to follow the order of operations. But for our purposes, we close the parenthesis and we hit enter, and there's your number. Again, you'd edit this. But it looks, if you're just looking at this, this would be gibberish. You're like, what? B11 greater than 9,000, B11 times 1? What are we talking about? But in Excel language, we're using the locations of things. We understand equals if means it's a logic test, a conditional test that is giving us the first section is the question or the test. If the sales numbers are greater than or equal to 9,000, so if Ryan made 9,000 or more, he got a 3% bonus on his total. If not, he got a 1%. And then you'd copy that formula over, and those would be the bonus numbers. Again, we kind of shortcut a few things to kind of save you some time, but I hope that makes sense. Again, take it slow. Understand there's no spaces in here. There's no commas except for the comma that separates the test from the true part, and then the final, the false. You don't have to have a comma at the end of the false. You just close the parentheses. And away you go. So that is it. Hope that makes sense.